were provided in the LAA Act, constituting what they call local land governance structures. The first has to do with county land boards, which the chairman might most likely talk about. And then you have the county land offices. The county land offices are basically the administrative arms of the LAA at the county level. The Act provides that LAA has to establish in each of the capitals of the counties an office, basically as an extension of the LAA in the county. Below the county land offices at the community level, you have the customary land management and development committees. But for the purpose of this presentation, in terms of the interventions that were made, the following are noteworthy. Through the bank, the World Bank, we were able to renovate 5 out of the 15 land offices in the country. Again, let me repeat. With the support we received from the bank, LAA was able to renovate the land offices in Tacoma Bright, Bombay County, in Banga, Bond County, in Vojimon, Lofa County, in Zuedu, Grand Jide County, and in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. In addition to that, again, with the support of the bank, we were able to develop a standard operating manual for these county offices. A Liberian consultant was hired that assisted us in developing that particular manual. And then we got additional support from the Swedish government through the project. A number of regional trainings were conducted on the use of the manual by county land office staff. And as I speak to you, we are in the process. In fact, we have finalized arrangement with the Swedish funded project. Procurement activities have reached an advanced stage now for the procurement of furniture, stationaries, solar panels for the renovation, renovated offices. I do not know the total amount, but our procurement people, with that of the project staff, they are working on these particular activities. So the installation of these furnitures, together with the solar panels, will be done sometime during the first quarter of next year. On building capacities, the other focus area, through training and reform of organization management processes, in short, institutional development, with the support that we received from the World Bank. LAA was able to train almost about 319 staff, broken down 77 females and 242 males. And these people, or these staff, have been trained in various disciplines. Of course, the emphasis has been on land discipline, such as geomatics, survey, mapping, GIS, database management, etc. But also some soft courses were offered to our staff to enhance their skills, to include disciplines dealing with procurement, dealing with human resources, dealing with finance, policy planning, etc. And then, of course, in the area of training for gender, the Swedish government, through the project, undertook a number of training related to gender mainstreaming. Again, they are all enumerated here in the brochure or in the booklet of document that will be given to you immediately after the press conference. And then, in terms of institutional development, we work with the World Bank. And this is something that has been a requirement by the Liberian government. For each time there is an audit, a compliance audit that is conducted at the LIA, they have made a number of observations concerning the lack of certain manuals. For example, financial management manuals. So what we did was to approach the bank, the World Bank, under the Liberia Land Administration Project. Consultants were hired. We work along with the consultants, and the deliverables of those consultancies were pretty close to about 7 manuals that were developed as part of the institutional development of the LAA, to include an organizational manual for the LLA. We also have a human resources manual. We have an M&E operations and procedural manual. We have a staff performance management system manual. We also have a manual for the Board of Commissioners. We have, of course, standard operating procedures for county offices. And then, in addition to these, we also have an internal communication strategy that was developed with the assistance of the bank. And also, a training policy was also developed with the assistance of the bank. And in-house, we were able, during the year-in review, to develop a financial management manual. All these manuals have been approved through a resolution by the Board of Commissioners of the LAE, and with the assistance of the Swedish projects, we were in the position to conduct orientation trainings on these manuals for a number of staff of our county offices. I think it was last month. We had almost about 9 counties represented in Banga, bringing together LA staff from these counties, and we ran through many of these manuals. Also, with the support of the World Bank, we are in the process of completing a business plan for land services deliveries. Hopefully, that will go into effect during the first quarter of next year. And then, in other, our website, we had a functional website because of time. Okay, because of time. Again, the document will be circulated. It's too long. I think I need to break. And then let me briefly talk about the area of resolving land disputes. I have some statistics here that are provided in the report. But most important, during the year, LAA with funding from the Swedish government, we were able to hold a judicial workshop that brought together probate court judges, magistrates from all the 15 counties of Liberia. A resolution was evolved from that particular conference or that particular workshop. That resolution has pretty close to about 20 recommendations, and those recommendations are in the process of being implemented as part of the awareness. I think once we get the go-ahead from the chairperson or from the board, we will make these reports or that particular report accessible to you. And then, based on the statistics, as I indicated to you, the issue of land disputes, very, very endemic. Within the LAA, we have an alternative dispute resolution section, and the statistics that are coming from there for the year in review, they have here 17 cases are pending. They have closed 14 cases. They were able to resolve about 70 cases, and 84 cases are ongoing. And also, we have under conducting public information, as you are aware, LAA over the last 2 years have been involved in outreach activities on the Land Rights Act and the LAA Act. We also have a radio program that is being funded by the Swedish funded project. It is our hope that sometime next year the program will be decentralized and other county radio stations will benefit in terms of disseminating information on the LAA. And then lastly, implementing programs to enhance security of tenant. I think the key achievement was the conduct of pilots for customary land registration. We got support from the World Bank. That pilot is still ongoing. We are almost 90% complete. What it is a pilot lessons learned, will be upskilled, and then that will be used as a model for the implementation of customary land rights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you.
well, it's been so long, but
Yes, so that was the voice of the Executive Director of the Liberian Authority, distinguished member of the Augustine Press. You know, one thing I learned from our chairman, he always say that when you want to talk about what the LA have achieved, when you call him to talk about what we have done over the years, he wouldn't want to talk much about that. You always say, look, you can talk about what we are going is where I want to focus on. So, distinguished members of the press, our donor partners, member of the board, executive director, I introduce to you the chairman of the Liberian Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you, Mr. Tlo. Again, let me start by welcoming you here again and by thanking you, the media. Normally, the media is the last or second to the last before we say fellow citizen. But let me take this time to extend appreciation to you for the kind of support you have been giving us the past 12 months. You all know the report the ED just gave the executive director is detailed, sufficient detail that you can write so many books from that. And just imagine, it only gave you a portion of what we have done because of time's sake. But you will also agree with me because of the land, the kind of problems we have in the land sector. Every day the amount of issues that come out are enough to write out on the book. Again, let me welcome you. Firstly, I want to extend thanks and appreciation to the president of this country. During his campaign in 2017, he promised the Liberian people that upon becoming president, he was going to change the land sector for us. At the time, the bill had been in Congress for more than 4 years, never passed, introduced or brought in, presented by the former president, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but it was never signed into law. But when he came, he made sure the law passed along with the Local Governance Act. And we strongly believe that the two laws really change or will change the face of Liberia. Imagine, from the founding of Liberia about 200 years ago, community land right in this country was never recognized, neither accepted. And for our government to come to recognize the right of the people, that's a big change. And the native people say that's a tear to changes that they have observed. The first was the abolition of slave trade or slavery in Liberia around 1929, President King's time. The third, the abolition of hot tax, where they used to tell our people to pay tax, and sometimes you call it contributing to the government without representation in the government. Now we have the land right law that gave right and recognition back to the community people. We are thankful to the president. Besides that, I need to say big thank you to our board of commissioners here. Our setting is somehow unusual to the Liberian system, where we have most likely you have the minister and all others are either deputy or the assistant. Here we have 5 persons of equal authority, notwithstanding the first among the equals, who is the chairman. Then we also have a white force, as by law automatically sent over to us from other institutions, as provided under the Land Authority Act. Bringing together all land functions from previous government institutions to come under one umbrella. You know, when you have people from different backgrounds, how it is to put them together. But we are thankful to all of them. They have commitment, they have focus to their job, and we believe the development, the progress, the advancement of any society depends largely on the land ownership in our society, because no investor is going to invest any substantial money or resources into any land if he is not too sure of the ownership of the land. So we are thankful to our staff for being focused and supportive. The donor community, we all know, and you will readily agree with me, that the land right law is very ambitious. We don't have the resources to implement the promises of the law, the aspiration of the law to deliver to our people. Notwithstanding, we live in a community where we are not alone. Our central government, the land authority, we are getting support and assistance from the international community, the donor community, for which we are appreciative and thankful to them. Primarily among them will be the UN organizations, or the World Bank, the Swedish government through SIDA, or the Chinese facility, among others. But these are institutions that we are proud to name, to call them out among the members who are helping us. The World Bank, and as the executive director said, the World Bank supported project is about to get over very soon, the end of January. Notwithstanding, there may still be different forms of support to the Liberian government for the land sector. Our international partners, you know, the donors gave support to the government, to institutions, merely most time through implementing partners, some of whom are local, majority international partners who implement on behalf of the donor community. We are also thankful to them. Now the public, our traditional people, the women groups, the youth, the disabled group. These are people who, some of them, without the focus of the government, most times their interests are not taken into consideration, but we know this law covers their interests with respect to land ownership. And with their support, most of the activities achievement that the executive director just named were done through their participation. We also have our commitment. Now, some of us we know, we were around during the rights riot, the Civil War, and some of you people, maybe if you're around, you remember the songs that were sung. Who owns the land? Papa's land. That tells us that the Civil War we fought was not only for political power, it was also for land ownership. The land authority, while we are here, we will pledge our full support to making sure that each community that is ready to formalize, to have deed to their inherited land, we are going to make sure that the community, most of whom, from where you come from, we will make sure that they have deeds to their land as provided under the law. Deeds to the community is not just a document to receive. We also want to make sure that they get a benefit under the deeds that they're going to get. Conflict resolution. None of you, most likely, would tell me that you are not either directly or indirectly involved in land conflict in this country. whether it is in your village or in Monrovia. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we are still lagging behind other countries. The poor land tenure system we have in this country. Thankful to the national land policy, now we have the land right law to be implemented by the Land Authority Act. I think we are making good use of the assistance from the government and from our partners, the donor communities, to make sure we resolve this issue. Notwithstanding, you know we are moving towards election. One of the focus we're going to have before the next election will be the resolution of administrative boundaries. Currently, if you are to interview the Minister of Internal Affairs now, he will also tell you that as provided under the Local Government Act, that the land authorities should provide technical assistance to the Internal Affairs Ministry to resolve land conflict, meet the administrative boundaries. We are working together. As we speak, we have our people in Sano County for 2 communities where Golden Velorum is. For a long-lasting conflict, we hope that it can resolve that within the course of this week. And we are working along with the Internal Affairs Ministry. We are also thankful to him. So, 2023, one focus areas will be land dispute resolution. Meaning, county to county disputes, district to district dispute, clan to clan disputes, community to community dispute. And within the urban areas, there we have the individual to individual dispute. Notwithstanding the little resources we are getting, for the fact that we are focused and committed, we will try our best to resolve most of this issue. We can't resolve all now because we don't have the required resources, but all we have to do is to remain focused and committed to that. The next area, transitions of the informal sector. You know, we have Liberia certain activities that we carry on, they are not legal, but at the same time they are not illegal. How can that be? Something that is not legal, at the same time is not illegal. If you have your land and you give it to me with all probate, with all registration, with all documentation, is it illegal? It's not illegal. But is it legal? No, it's not legal. Because you are not going by the law. We are going to work along with communities to make sure all land transactions, our law say if land transaction is not written, it's not enforceable, which you call the statute of fraud, that every land transaction should be recorded. And recordations of land transaction does not mean you only put on paper and keep it at your home. You probate it and register it to ensure that you can have protection and enforcement of the law. We are going to work along with the community, as the executive director said, to restructure our land registration system in this country. It is not good at all. You will agree with me that there are areas where one plot of land you can find 2, 3, 4, 5 Ds for the calling for the same land. How can that be? Those are some of the areas we are going to rely on the assistance of our partners to make sure that we can have some of the issues resolved. The next one is formalizations of our informal sector. You have the customary land. If they don't have these, they are not really accounted for. Because we have some of the economic activities that go on into these communities, but they are not recorded. They are not registered. They are not probated. How can the economy account for that? So that's the informal sector. To make it formal, we have to give a guarantee and the assurance to the community that you don't have to have anything, hide anything from the government, bring everything forth, and then we make sure, every right has responsibility under our law. For the fact that the government gave you a right to the land, you also have responsibility to pay taxes. As the executive director said, we are going to work on this area. We are losing a lot of revenues only because we are not being focused on those areas. I don't know if many of you can tell me that you pay your annual real estate tax where you live. But again, if the government is to break it down, we want the highest amount for the government to pay. It's a citizen responsibility. This is the country we have. we all have to work together to make sure we have a good standard of living, and also that we have a government that is responsible and responsive, that will pay our taxes. I will not hold you too long, but we also have to make sure that our community get benefit. Concessions are on the land, and every day you, the media, you report that confrontation between communities and concession. Only because the government, most time we give contract, money contract, agricultural contract, to concession to companies without first of all identifying the land, without doing any survey. The land right law requires that we do survey. We are working with all the concessions to make sure the boundary between that land and the community land can be established. But moreover, in today's world, we have what we call climate change. And the international community wants every country to contribute. Yes, we agree to contribute, but you will also agree with me that what we have today, climate change, country like Liberia is not really it's not contributing that much negatively to climate change. Notwithstanding, we have to help. At the same time, they are asking us to put aside a portion of our land not to be touched at all for conservation, preservation, for protection, that we call protected area or proposed protected area. As of now, we are working along with the FDA, the EPA, to make sure the areas the government is setting aside as protected areas, those areas should have notwithstanding, the communities around the protected areas should also have in as much as we want to save the whole world, our first responsibility is to save our people, our community. We want to make sure that happens. Mainly when we have more support for 2023, those are areas going to be our concentration. Lastly, the government need to give us more support. Salary payment, we are thankful, but for the fact that the law is new, and it is a framework law, it tells you what to do, but not how to do it. We need to find means to do it. We can only rely on our partners. They sometimes design their programs before coming here. Some of the programs that the donors bring are not in alignment with the government development agenda. We are asking the government, our national legislature, many of whom call upon us every time to go into their community to resolve land issues. The budget is about to pass. The executive has presented the budget to the legislature. We are going to knock on their doors. We are going to write them to make sure those who have dispute in their counties, they should have budgetary support to resolve those disputes, along with the traditional council and the Internal Affairs Ministry. Moreover, our law says we should have National Consultative Forum established, and that will also help us to evolve to resolve some of the dispute overlap between functions of various institutions. 2023, we have to make sure that the National Consultative Forum is established. Also, the county land board, the law provides that each county should have a board for management or suggestion as to management, protection of public land, government land, or land activity in each county. 2023, we have to make sure that they are established. Judicial conference, we are enjoying the relationship with the court system. At first it was rough, but after the judicial conference in Banga, I think we all are on the same page and we are working together collaboratively. To the extent that the court has agreed that any issue with customary land should start from the land authority. And that's what the law provides. We are working along with it. Financial sustainability. We have support from our partners, from CEDA, the Swedish government, from the World Bank, from the United Nations Organization, from Tenure Facility, and others. Are we sure that the support will forever be there? No, we are not. Not only that we are not sure, but very soon some way will be finished, will be terminated. So we are in the process to make sure 2023, land authority should start the journey towards financial sustainability. That is, we have plenty of money that we are losing. Even the payment of our own real estate taxes to the government. We're going to make sure we start that so that our community, our life can also improve like any other country. But again, we want to promise you that the land authorities will remain your partner in the area. If I may put an end to my statement, last week we were in Basel County, Edina. You know of the slave trade. Some of you learned this in school. Many of our brothers and sisters in America, in Europe, in Asia, they all want to come back to Africa. If everything goes well, about 9 million of them have decided to come back to Liberia. Can you believe that? Our population is about maybe 4.5 million. Your own brothers who went away across the Atlantic Ocean 400 years ago, they want to come back. And they are working along with the Executive Mansion and the Traditional Council. We had the last meeting yesterday. We visited Edina. The community is prepared to give them land where they want to build, according to them, their capital city in Africa. Because Liberia was one of the countries that sold slaves. Liberia is also the countries where the slave returned to establish a home. By the 17th of this month, they are going to be here with Charter 5 to meet the Traditional Council. I'm thankful to Zansa Kawa, the Traditional Council chair. He's working with us. We are working with him to make sure this comes to reality. After meeting the Traditional Council, they are going to meet with the president. Then they will travel to Edina, Gaza, to also meet the local community where they want to build their first city. Again, it's all about land. To really see development, you make sure your land activities are put on track. Lastly, let me say thank you to you all. And we call you on board for 2023 to make sure we carry the right message. The land sector is not going to be corruption free for now, unless we have sufficient resources. Let me admit, the land sector is not going to be corruption free for now, which of course we all, along with the government, along with our partners, we want to make sure to see transparency in the sector. But transparency does not only mean free corruption society, it also means prosecution of those that you're going to catch to serve a deterrent and punish. We promise you, with your support, we will work together to make sure Liberia is on the right course. Thank you to you all.
Thank you so much. That was the voice of the Honorable Chairman of the Liberian Authority, Honorable Anthony J. Adams Manova. And I believe that members of the press have listened to what the Chairman have said, listened to what the Executive Director have said, and you also listen to what our partner said, in their different statements. On this note, we don't want to keep long. As we told you, we will entertain few questions, and the chairman was speaking. I saw some few of my colleagues, who are here, and they've been raising their hands. They showing me sign that they want to ask questions. So we go directly to. I will point at you, please. You just raise your hand, I recognize you, and then you put in your question. So we will take the first question. You call your name, you call your institution you come from, and then you present your question. So we go to my brother there, please.
Okay, my name is Andrew Johnson, and I report for OKFM. Now, the Liberia Land Authority is clothed with the responsibility of settling land dispute cases around even before this time. But this has become a major challenge for the Liberia Land Authority and calling to the Executive Director and that of the Chairman. What mechanisms are you putting in place so that next year we will not come back on the same table and it becomes the same challenge for the Liberia Land Authority, or are you writing other international partners that are going to give you the support that you need to settle some of these disputes? If not, most cases coming every day. How are you going to do it?
Thank you. So we take you there.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Harris Willie, and I report from Voice of Liberia. I have three concerns, and I will appeal that you just allow me to go there. The first one is about a year ago, the Liberia Authority outlined 5 counties in a category to be red zones. Those counties include Liberia, might be aggressive, and so forth. I'm concerned as to where are we now with those counties? Are they still in the red zone as we speak in terms of land dispute? That's one. Number 2, the Liberia Authority has also informed us that only 20% of the entire land in Liberia is registered. I mean, sometimes I think a year ago or so. Where are we now in terms of registration of land in this country? As to what percent are we as we speak? Now, my last concern is climate change is a serious problem. We all know in the world to land degradation in this country so that our land can be preserved.
Thank you. So we take you.
Okay. Like you said, I have 3 concerns. My name is Joseph Seyon. I report for ELBC and I won an environmental media group for journalists for the protection of nature. We are basically involved in this kind of thing, the land environment. So I've been collaborating with a lot of civil society, and there are a lot of concerns that have been raised. And one is that in the absence of the issuance of deed to customary land ownership, civil society have been raising issue that the land authority is involved in providing trust certificate in the absence of land deed. I don't know, how do you speak to that? 2. What the chairman said, there will be vigorously involved in resolving land dispute, especially around land border area, right, where you have bordering counties or bordering communities having land dispute. There will be vigorously involved. I just want to know whether the Liberia Land Authority have been able to identify the root causes of some of those problems before they are going into that. And 3, on the issue of customary land, you have a very strict regulations on that, rules on that. But over the past time, we have noticed that there are powerful people who are moving into rural communities and then taking over customary land. I don't know how that has been identified by you as an institution, whether you have an idea on that. But there are powerful people that are moving into the communities, especially rural community, taking over customary land because of their power and wealthy people. So if you have any knowledge, how do you intend to address those questions? Because if we should have a very comprehensive, inclusive land administration, like you said, then of course we'll be able to check all of those. So how do you intend addressing that? Those powerful people that are moving to the country, some of them get farms, moving it, having fun and other things, and they also causing problem. How do you intend addressing all of those?
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll take Reagan, we'll take you, then we'll take Bill from the Inquirer newspaper. So that would be for. So Reagan, your question, please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Reagan Levian and I report for the Liberia News Agency. I want to know exactly from the chairman that is the institution having any plan or are there plans to maximize the awareness on the issue of payment of real estate taxes in Liberia? Are there plans to do that? And I heard you talking about the support from the angle of the government. You said you need most financial support. What is the current budget for the Liberia Land Authority? So I want to know that.
Thank you so much. So we'll take you, your name, your institution, and then we go to Bill.
Yeah, I'm Jackson George and I report for Africa 24 Online TV. I'd like to say thanks to the LA for the milestone achievements during the course of this year. My concern has to do with the Customary Land Act. I want to know exactly what does it take to acquire the customary land, and what are those eligible to own customary land, and of course, what are some challenges the LA has been faced with during the course of this year.
Okay, thank you. So the last person will take Bill.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bill Cooper and I write for the Inquirer newspaper. I have 2 concerns. Firstly, in your closing statement, you said that the land sector is not going to be corruption-free unless the institution is financially supported. So I want to know whether or how the commission or the authorities going to work along with donors and the government to ensure that this center is supported financially to eradicate or minimize corruption, because we all know that the issue of corruption is some of the things that affecting the land center in Liberia. And then two, I beg you, please let me go off track a little bit. The Asylum made that deal recently. You were part of one of the hearing to the House of Representatives, and you raised issue with the lawmaker that during the formation stage of this deal, during the first negotiation stage with the executive, let us still the land authority as one of the key players in the entire agreement was not part of the negotiation stage, and due to that, the lawmaker somehow rejected some portion of that deal. And then today, the president has set on a new committee headed by Dimas Kimia to start a new negotiation. Are the land authorities they informed, or if not, how are you going to lobby with the lawmaker to ensure that you're from part of the new negotiation to avoid similar things that happened first?
Okay, thank you so much. That was Bill Cooper. Okay, so like you've already presented your questions. I know there are varieties of questions that came in. The chairman is here. I want to believe the chairman knows exactly how to, handle those questions. This one that is designated, definitely he will do that. So, Honorable Chairman, the questions are all yours now.
So I think we may start with the last one, with the hope that I will still remember the first one, and for the fact that you are stated around, you can help to bring back knowledge. Or Mita Steel. Yes, the president just appointed a special presidential committee headed by the foreign minister, and for which we acknowledge. And we even wrote communication to the IMCC. Yes, we went to the Cabinet building and we told the lawmakers that the agreement as renegotiated was not the best, but that there was still room for improvement on ground that was not even in line with the land right law. I'm not too sure whether it was only because of my statement that the agreement was rejected and sent back to the president. But even if that was a contributing factor, we don't regret it because we know exactly that was the situation. Upon the appointment of the SPC, the Special Presidential Committee, we have not yet been contacted officially, but unofficially we are told that we will be called upon to make our contribution. As we are called, we will step in to provide for the Liberian people what they're supposed to have. If we are not called and they do it the right way, we will go back to the lawmakers and support it. If it is not done the right way, we will still go back if we are called to tell them that there are still rooms for improvement. With respect to the corruption, what are we doing? Or it is true that you all will agree with me that the land sector is not free of problems. It's not free of corruption. It depends what you or I may consider corruption. Because, for example, if someone sold land 2 times and it is registered, probated, that means we have problem with the system. And unless the land sector, land administration, to have effective land administration in any country is capital intensive. It's not overnight. You have to spend money. Of course, the money over time will pay for itself, but if you don't put it there, it cannot pay for itself. So we are asking the government, yes, we are asking for budget support and the support of our partners to make sure that we can put the right mechanism in place. One is the ADR, the Alternative Dispute Resolution. The next one is the collaboration between the court system and the land authority. The next one will be the National Consultative Forum, where we know there are concession or contract granting institutions of the government. If we all can get together before any contract is granted, the rating as part of our law, the rating are done, then that's another way to stop corruption. But until we have the further support, we cannot guarantee that you can catch the criminal if you don't have the means to chase the criminal. That's all we are saying.
If I can just add one thing, I think as Chairman mentioned before, and even Edith told, the digitalization of the whole process will also prevent fraud and so on. So for us as a partner, it's very important to support that process, because anti-corruption is one of the most important issues for us to work in all our projects. And we see that we have a lot of work that has been done here, and we will do more during this year. So I'm very hopeful to achieve.
So that means we should have our land transaction digitized, readily available, electronic availability. But besides that, the ED reference a core system, a system that will have dual referencing point, meaning once you deal with that system on a low condition, you can overlay any two pieces of land in the same place. Only one can be there. If we have the system working with support of the government, that means before we put any land record in our system, it has to be referenced back to the area it is coming from. And if that area was sold previously, and the current sale is not done by the current owner, it will not enter the system. That means we are avoiding land conflict. We have the system in place. We have to densify it in all parts of Liberia, but it needs support of the government. The partners are doing well, but they are here for a short time. It has to be a government sponsored process.
Yeah, just before the chair goes to the other item, on the issue of the course that he just talked about, I was working along with the technicians, and what it is as I indicated to you, that particular equipment was installed with the support of the bank, but the bank project closes next month. So how do you maintain this particular course? And this is something that the bank has been concerned about, not only the bank, but our international partners. We now have a yearly maintenance budget of about 59,000 plus. I was submitted over to my office. The chairman and myself are in discussion on the approach to take, because the bank wants to see some evidence that this particular budgetary item for the course maintenance is incorporated in the LAA's operational budget for this year. Notwithstanding, we are in discussion with the Swedish project, because that project is expected to close at the end of next year, to engage as a fallback position. But these are some of the issues that we are faced with.
The next one, customer land processes and challenges. The processes start with, first of all, the community have to want to. But if you don't want to, we can force you. Our community has to want to have a deed to that land. The first process we call self-identification. We will not go through all the processes. Most of you here know what self-identification means. As to the community land owned area. The next one, you have to have your governance system. You have to elect your members who are going to manage your land. That we call the CLDMC. It is done through election with preferably equal gender representation. Then you also have to harmonize your boundary with your neighbor, because the law provides whether you have deed or not, your land belongs to you. But we have to work with you to get a deed. And the only way to get a deed is for you and your community neighbor to agree on the boundary. Once that is done, we will go and do the conformity survey to confirm what you agree on. And thereafter, once there is no problem, we issue the land authority. Most importantly, the community are not to pay for any land. Because the law says for you, you can buy your own thing. The challenge is the community don't have the means to do survey. We also don't have the means from government to help them. So we heavily rely on support from the donor partner, and also we move quickly with community at the minimum lower cost who has a means to formalize to get the. We work along with them. We have issued several deeds, and the community that is ready, and with the minimum support we will do and make sure we get that deed. There are so many rigging, the maximizations of real estate tax payment. What are we doing?
think you were talking about awareness, whether there's any
Oh,
marketing.
actually, this is an area where the government really need to look at. So, real estate taxes on every income, revenue generating income area for the government. If we all in this country can pay our taxes, the minimum of which is 0.025, that is a quarter of a percentage point of the value of the property. Some may even be as low as $25, $10 a year. If the government can give us the support, working along with the LRA, the Revenue Authority, in collaboration with the local authority, because for now we have the Local Governance Act, along with the revenue sharing. Possibly they have to pass that act. I think working together, we need to create enough awareness for the community, the citizens to know the importance of tax payment. But also it has to go along with the government knowing that when the citizens pay taxes, you get they should get the benefit from payment of that tax. If all the action be put together for you to know that, I to know that I need to make payment, and it is a payment that provides security, police for my area. It is a payment that pave the road. It is a payment that bring the clinic or hospital next to my area. It is the same payment that carry the current. It is the same payment that make the communication available. It is the same payment that pave the road for ambulance, emergency response. If we can understand that, and the government also understand that, yes, I think we'll be somewhere good. We have the plan. We don't have everything at one time. We don't have all the solution, but the fundamentals is to work along with LRA and the local authority to make sure we all understand it and we work together. And that cannot happen if we don't do property valuation. The new law says we are responsible to establish the value of the properties, and then we send the value over to the LRA for collection. But if you can't do the valuation, it is halfway to do the collection. So those are some of the good side of it and the advantages. We have a Joseph Senior, CSO observation,
And then
travel certificate,
yeah.
the absence of travel certificate, or in the absence of travel certificate,
In the absence of de-issuance,
de-issuance.
there has been this concern by them that the LRA is involved in issuing travel certificates. So I just want to know how.
Oh, land authority is involved actually as of 2018. No travel certificate issued after 2018 is recognized anywhere by the land authority. It is just an attempt to give land to someone, so it's not allowed. Land authority does not support it, and if it comes to our attention, we'll take immediate action on it. Travel certificate. There should be no travel certificate after the effective date of the new law. Now, community, but we also need to realize some CSO maybe they did not tell you, or you did not have the chance to answer that question. They want us to issue deed to communities when in fact there are private lands in our community or travel certificate land in our community. And I know you will not agree with me to issue deed to your neighbor that will also include your land when in fact you have a deed for your land. Will you? To give deed to your neighbor to include your land in it when in fact you have deed to your land and your land does not belong to your neighbor, and then we give deed to your neighbor. That's what some CSO want us to do. The issue is we all can work together to make sure the right thing is done. As long as we are here, we have to make sure by our system we should not do the wrong thing, because it's not going to help us. But for their support, they're getting more support from the national community. We all have to get together to make sure we find the best way to solve this problem and not to compound the problem by giving concession land, by giving deed to community for concession land. You think what the community will do the next day? If I give you deed, you don't have the right to put fence around your land. And if the concession land is included in the community land, don't you think the community have the right to put fence? If they have the right to put fence, don't you think they also have the right to stop the concession? then what becomes of the area? So we have to make sure that we do vetting as per the law, Article 47. We vet all travel certificates, then we vet all private land. Once they are good, we will not give deed to any community for that land because the law says they should have equal protection under the law. That's what we are doing.
And then before you get to the next one, on the issue of the real estate taxation, I think it came directly from Linda, right?
Yeah.
There was another second concern I would like to address
Right.
in terms of government budgetary support to the LIA. For this year, the budgetary support amounted to $1.6 million. Out of that amount, 111 to $112,000 was for operation. So you can see in terms of percentage, about 96 to 97% of what we receive from government is strictly for compensation. The rest is for operations. For this coming year, that is 2023, the amount that was appropriated for operation, that is the $112,000 for this year, has been drastically reduced to about $56,000. So what it tells you, many of the activities or the achievements that were made by the LAA in terms of programs executed were funded, as the chairman indicated, by our donors, principally the World Bank and the Swedish government-funded Inclusive Land Administration Project. And before I turn the chair over to the chairperson to continue, because everything is, I would like to speak to the issue of the percentage of land that has been registered. I think it came from the young man from OK, right? Boys of Liberia. I was wondering, where did you get the statistics from?
I was going through a document published on Executive Mansion.
From where?
A document published on Executive Mansion.
Emanating from the land commission, from the land authority? That 20% of land in Liberia is registered? Is it private land, customary land, public land?
Right, it didn't point out to.
Who is the author of that document?
The government authority office.
Okay, I will talk to you later on, because as far as we are concerned at the LAA, the issue of data is a problem. And so far, LAA cannot give a definite percentage in terms of the number of land, percentage of land that has been registered under freehold, percentage of land that has been registered as customary land, neither as public land or government land. We don't have that particular data.
Let us consider this way, that it may be an approximation
Yeah, this is
that
why
needs verification.
yeah,
You understand? Not that it is wrong, not that it is 100% correct. The availability of the data may not be very or easily accessible, but we have to make a follow-up on that.
Okay, I'll do
Customary land, powerful people taking land from the community people. Now, the issue is sometimes, like you were referring to the issues of travel certificate. I think that issue surfaced somewhere of Bombay County. The issue is this. Do we have enough policing or tools to go into every community? No. And this is where some of the challenges are. It is possible, we cannot rule this out. It is possible that some community will call on some of their lawmakers or a well-off person and give the land. But let us not forget that the law also agreed for community to lease the land. Our point is, before you lease the land, you should have deed, because the deed will establish a boundary with your neighbors. As at now, any issue, any complaint coming to the land authority that a community is transferring land or anyone is taking land from the community, we will make sure we get into it. But that has not been any complaint from any community or any CSO that any individual is taking land from someone forcibly. Again, the community have the right to lease land. They don't have the right to sell land. But if anyone is taking land from them forcibly, the law will take this course. We promise that. Store has also already answered climate change, land degradation. Actually, this will go over to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, but for the fact that we also work along with this institution, we will have to go by their prescription of their protection or the avoiding of the land degradation. Because we don't have power to permit anyone to issue any permit or license. But to anyone who has the power to impact the environment. Notwithstanding, we work along with the appropriate institution of government to make sure that this does not happen. If it happens, they have something called land reclamation. You restore the land to its proper status as at the time you made it. Again, we don't have greater role to play in this because we don't issue permit, we don't issue construction or management or money. Notwithstanding, we work along with the communities.
Chairman, this question I asked, you have not gone through because you said ARA is embarking on a very serious process to ensure that the issue of land disputes, especially boundary dispute, all of those can be resolved. But my thinking, I've been thinking so much. The root cause, what are you able to identify the root cause that you said? Sometimes there is the issue of money and all of those surrounding the boundary. Those are factors that lead to most of the time confusion. So I don't know when you identify the root cause of some of those problems.
If I may comment quickly, I think this question is also in alignment with Abraham Andrew Johnson. Question as to land dispute or what are we doing, what are the mechanisms?
Yeah.
What the root cause is. One would be primarily, historically, is government issued concession for a community that was not involved in the negotiation at all. Or concession in community whose right and aspiration was not embedded, were not taken care of in the concession. And then the concession are asked, the concessionaires are asked to go and find their own land. With that, they have conflict with the community. But besides that, we all may know of money, gold mining, diamond mining, logging in communities. And these are some of the causes. Mines and energy, as I said, the importance of the establishment of the National Consultative Forum, where these government institutions are supposed to meet to discuss issues. If mines and energy is issued license to a company without establishing the ownership of the land, first, as required by the law, and you would agree with me that once gold is discovered in one area, every community wants to extend their ownership to that area. That's one of the root causes. Licenses are issued or permits are issued to companies without first of all identifying the ownership of the land and the demarcation of the ownership. But besides that, if license permits are issued with all the definitive area, geographical area where the license cover, the license holder has the means to go anywhere as far as his ability can extend to do money. These are some of the causes. Logging. Because the traditional people, yes, they know their boundary, but sometimes when companies go into the area, the forestry law gave the community the right to enter into contract with private companies, right? So one community may issue license or permit or agreement with one company, and that community may extend their ownership to another community. So to boil down is resources. That's one of the main reasons. And the failure to formalize claim. That's some of the reasons. Also, the absence of digitized record system and without geo-reference of our system. Classic example. Who goes to the probate court to register deed, and the probate court has the technical know-how to find out whether that deed is right, is illegal, is genuine or not, and the court will register it, right? What that means, and on the deed is there, let it be, the court will probate it. On the deed is there, let it be registered.
Yeah.
And our people say once it is mandated from the court, they have to register it, which of course I say no, but these are some of the challenges and some of the reasons of the land conflict. It's sad that people do double selling, double, triple selling of land, and because the system is so weak, the land information system is not effective. Those transactions can pass through the system, and when it is discovered, the conflict can. So what that really means, we don't have the system, the lack of sufficient support to the authority, and the archaic system we still have, which is the paper manual registration of deed and non-digitization. These are some of the causes. But that again, that's the purpose why we have the land authority, and we are getting support from some of the partners and also the government. Yes, the support is not enough, notwithstanding. We are not saying we can't do our work because we don't have enough support. Whatever support we are getting, we will make sure we make the best use of it, relatively to become effective and efficient. These are some of the sources of conflict in the land sector.
Okay, so we want to say thank you so much. I think one of the questions asked, were responded to by the chairman and supported by the executive director.
So thanks for watching. This is how we come to the end of this press conference presided over by the authority of the Liberia Land Authority, the executive director and the chairman. Thanks for watching. My name is Prince Moba. This is Focus on the Blood TV live. We're coming to you live and direct from the headquarters of the Liberia Land Authority here in Monrovia. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Once again, my name is Prince Moba.